What's up, everyone? Welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to touch on a topic that I previously mentioned in a video that I did yesterday, and that is what is the price of a brand new semi-truck? Because obviously I shouted out some numbers that maybe are not in tune with today's numbers, and in this video I'll explain to you why I think prices might be somewhere around those numbers when they start settling down. So stay tuned and hope you enjoyed today's video. All right, welcome back. So to start off this video, I just want to say that pretty much all of this is my personal opinion and my own thought process. So take it with a grain of salt. I think I'm pretty spot on, but we'll see where I land on this. So brand new semi trucks, $250,000. Are they really worth that much? Let's start off by saying that during all times of panics or shortages, usually all markets will react in the same way because they're driven by people's reactions. So it's either people are going to buy, they're going to sell, they're going to hold. So these rash decisions are going to cause massive price fluctuations. So you should never really price something during a bubble, I guess we can call it. You really need to wait to see where assets kind of find a base and where they settle before you make any types of decisions. So I would like to say that I basically narrow down if I were to buy a truck right now, or in general, if I were to buy a brand new truck, there's three key factors that I want to look at when I buy that unit. So starting off with key factor number one, what does the bank value the asset at? Really one of the most important factors here, because again, what's happening right now with these prices, I see a lot of ads asking 250, 260, 270K for a Freightliner Cascadia, So when you go and try to get a loan for this truck, the bank's not necessarily going to value it at $250,000 when a year ago it was 155,000, 160,000. That's a little bit crazy. Or even a year and 4 months ago, a year and a half ago. So let's say somebody's asking 265 for a truck and you try to get a loan for it. I would say the bank safely right now, even if they value it at like 220, 225, you're going to be responsible for the remaining balance, which is $40,000, $45,000. And like, really, who can put a down payment $40,000 to $50,000 on a brand new unit? So without really diving more into that, it should be very self-explanatory. What does the bank value the asset at? So it doesn't matter if it's a bubble and people are asking crazy prices. The banks are not stupid. So when you try to get a loan for this asset, they're going to have a book value for it already. And their book value is probably going to be what the value was before the craziness happened. So before the bubble happened, because we're in a bubble. In my opinion, we're in a bubble 100% and we're still in it. So I doubt the bank's going to value it at 265, but in my opinion again. Number two factor for buying a brand new semi-truck is going to be the make and the model, because that will determine the price as well, because we know that some are more expensive than others. So starting off, we're going to say that we probably know, safe to say, Cascadias are probably the least expensive Freightliner, and in my opinion they're really the best, but we'll save that for some other time. And then you go on to like Peterbilt 389s and your Kenworth W900s, which have always been way more expensive. Your long nose classics, they've always been a little bit higher value than a regular Cascadia. And in between those, you have your Volvo VNLs, and then you have your Kenworth T-Series. I think they've always been a little bit more than the Cascadias as well, but they've been under the classic, the long nose W900s and 389 Pete's. And then after that, you have your gliders, which gliders nowadays and from a few years ago, they were always very expensive because, it's number one, paper logs, and a little bit less of a headache, and also no EGR system, no DEF, no DPF. So it's a lot less work on the engine per se, and a lot less headaches to deal with, a lot less sensors and all that stuff that you're dealing with these days. And not to mention, you don't have to fuel up your DEF or whatever, and so that's saving you quite a bit. So yeah, so make and model is going to determine the price for sure. And the number 3 factor that's going to determine the price, in my opinion, is the engine maker slash parts chassis maker. So we'll dive into this a little bit. What I mean by engine maker, obviously most of you truckers should know. If you go to Detroit, it probably will be a little bit less expensive, with Cummins being a little bit more expensive and Caterpillar obviously being, I think, probably a little bit more expensive than Cummins, if not right around the same ballpark. I'm not really sure on Cat and Cummins. I've never owned them. I've always owned Detroit, so Detroit were always very solid and very friendly. And then you have Packers, which Packers I wouldn't even really, I would stay away from them. I mean, I would, heard some stories, not the most reliable, so we'll just put it at that. And on the flip side of that, when you're dealing with Freightliner, you have Mercedes-Benz engines and Mercedes-Benz like chassis, where they have like the suspension made out of Mercedes-Benz. I mean, in my opinion, it's a fact that they're very expensive parts, and probably if it's your first truck, you wanna try to keep it as simple as possible and go with that Detroit, baby. American made, can't go wrong with it. All right, welcome back. So that pretty much wraps up today's video on what is the cost of a brand new semi truck. So I guess the short answer to that at the moment is we'll never know for now until things start settling down and prices start adjusting. But yeah, I also wanted to throw in there what I think the 3 key factors that are always gonna kind of drive the price of a truck when we're not talking about demand issues or anything like that. During normal buying times, the 3 key factors that really drive the price of a truck and what you should always price it yourself at, in my opinion, right there. Also, what I wanted to throw in really at the end, and I forgot to kind of put in the whole video as a whole, is Tesla, the Tesla Semi, for example, it's still being priced around $180,000 to $200,000. So Tesla hasn't even adjusted their price for the Tesla Semi yet. So for Freightliner Cascadias to be worth $260,000, $270,000, we can honestly say that the prices are all over the place right now. So again, I know that it might seem like electric trucks are like really a far off thing, but you know, things are moving fast these days, so don't sleep on it, guys, and take everything I say with a grain of salt. Again, not financial advice, my opinion. Be smart in what you're buying, have fun out there, and happy trucking.